As a child points towards above the founding titan, a plane suddenly flies through the steam. Mikasa tells Onyankopon to get over here as well, but he says he's going to land the plane on the ground and tells them to go ahead. So they open the door and jump out, activating their ODM gear and latching the hooks onto the founding titan's back. But Connie starts getting catapulted by the beast titan's projectiles, so Reiner transforms into his armored titan and slams it down as Peak also transforms and lands on one of the large bones. Meanwhile, the Marleyan officer looks at them through a binocular and says that the soldiers of Paradise Island have come to aid them. As Armin lands on its back, he asks Eren how exactly he'll be free once they drag him out of there. Reiner sees that Zeke's Beast Titan was just an empty husk that Eren was controlling, so Armin tells them to clear away as far as they can, so that he can transform into the Colossal Titan without worrying about them. Armin inwardly admits that can't be so comfortable and gets ready to transform, but a large Okapi Titan slides him inside its mouth and flees. The others try to get him, but suddenly stop as a large horde of titans materializes from the bones and gets ready to attack them. Levi decides to try luring them away as bait, but Peak says that won't work and tells them that they're the past generations of titans from the 9 types that Eren is using through his founding titan powers. She rushes forward and straps the explosives around his neck, getting ready to press the button, but she suddenly gets stabbed from behind. As the others try to fight the titans, Bertholdt's Colossal Titan chomps Reiner's head off and slams his titan down. As Jean and Levi precariously hang down, Levi goes to save Connie, but his leg gets cut off. Seeing this, Mikasa tries to lure the titans toward her, but Gabby and Annie arrive at the nick of time and save them on a flying titan, which she tells them is Falco's second titan form. Levi says they can't half-ass it anymore, and the others depressingly admit that they have to kill Eren, as Mikasa watches them in disbelief, but Annie snaps her out of it and tells her to just worry about rescuing Armin, and they fly back towards Eren's titan. Meanwhile, as the Marleyan soldiers are filling up their cannons to try to aid the Paradis scouts, they see a group of refugees walk towards them and recognize them as Eldians by their arm strap marks. Both the groups take up arms against each other as the two look at each other with anxiety. Meanwhile, as Connie disbelievingly sees that people are still fighting against each other, Falco flies over Eren's back, dodging projectiles before Reiner transforms and drops down near Peak with Jean to clear a path for the others to get Armin. Reiner starts fighting the Titans in close combat as Jean flies towards Peak, but faces off against 2 Jaw Titans before Peak suddenly runs out of her Titan and transforms again, defeating the others. But a Jaw Titan eats away her head in one chomp, so she transforms again, telling Jean that the Cart Titan isn't cut out for just odd jobs and has the highest endurance out of the 9 types, before saying that she'll make sure to take them all out, even if it means that she has to transform 100 times, but grimly remarks that a 100 tries won't do much against 1,000,000 enemies, as Reiner gets attacked from all sides. As the others look for the Titan that devoured Armin to take him to Eren, Mikasa spots it and tries explaining to the others, but they all start arguing before finally silencing themselves and deciding to attack it at once and get Armin out of there. But as Levi looks at the countless Titans on Eren's back, he wonders where Zeke is, before admitting that even if he shows up now, he won't be able to defeat him in his current condition, before saying that he doesn't have any regrets for choosing someone with the same look in his eyes he had over him. Annie transforms into her Titan and throws Mikasa with her arm, who rushes away towards the Okapi and is about to reach it, but gets blocked by an armored Titan as more and more enemies surround her, Annie and Connie. As they keep fighting, the rumbling doesn't slow down and keeps steadily approaching as people try to desperately run away but reach the end of a cliff. As a mother decides to surrender to her fate, she jumps off, but a man notices her baby and quickly grabs hold of it, trying to pass it through the hands of people to keep it alive. Meanwhile, Armin tries to desperately wake himself up in his consciousness before touching sand and realizing that he's actually in the paths as he sees Zeke sitting in front of him. He greets him as Zeke begins telling him about life, the only species that was able to live in this world because of its tendency to multiply and grow, and asks Armin why he wants to save these people. Armin reaches inside the sand and takes out a leaf, recounting how when he was once racing Eren and Mikasa to a hill, he wondered if that was the sole purpose in his life. Zeke sees a ball in his hand and remembers how he used to play catch with Xaver before the two turn around and see the former Titan holders standing behind them. As everyone seems to be completely cornered, Bertholdt's Titan starts swatting their enemies away, and so do the other Titans they had once known, including Marcel, Galliard, Ymir, Xaver, and Grisha. Confused, the others wonder what's happening, but Mikasa quickly takes the chance and slashes open the Okapi's mouth, from which Armin tumbles out and blasts it away with a thunder spear before being caught by Annie, after which Zeke also half rises out of the body and calls Levi, who stares at him in shock, as the others wonder what's happening. Armin says it's all because of Zeke, recounting how they'd met the former Titan holders in the paths and asked for their help. Zeke remarks that it's a beautiful day and wishes he could have realized this sooner, but catches himself and says that's too much to expect after all the people he killed before Levi slashes his head off. Meanwhile, as the people look at the approaching Titans with dread, the rumbling suddenly stops after Jean swoops toward Eren's neck and sadly presses the button, blowing it up and making his face fall off. Suddenly, a large centipede-like creature tries to get to Eren to resume the rumbling, so Reiner desperately grabs hold of it as all the fighters, Mikasa, Annie, Gabi, Levi, Jean, and Connie fly away on Falco before Armin thanks everyone for their support, bids Eren goodbye, and transforms into the colossal Titan with a massive explosion. As the dust clears, the onlookers try to see if Eren is dead, spotting the bones, and start celebrating when they see Reiner and Armin walking towards them as Gabi, Falco, and Peak rush to their families, but suddenly stop as a huge explosion happens again, from which Eren appears, in the colossal Titan's form this time. The centipede abruptly starts releasing a weird gas as Connie realizes that it's like the one from Ragako village, before Levi tells Peak, Gabi, Mikasa to get on Falco before they fly away, and all the Eldians there, including Jean and Connie, transform into Titans and rush towards Reiner, trying to stop the centipede while Armin rushes toward Eren and starts fighting him. Mikasa suddenly starts receiving jolts of a headache and gets transported to outside a cabin where Eren slowly chops wood and explains that they ran away together since he couldn't bring himself to commit genocide and decided to spend his remaining 4 years together. She slowly agrees to this, remembering that they decided to not mention it, and embraces him. He tells her to throw her scarf away after he's gone and live a long life before she suddenly wraps the scarf around her and says she can't, telling them to clear a path for her, so Levi rushes forward, dodging all the debris, and manages to blow a hole in Eren's mouth, which Mikasa rushes into and slowly slashes his head off as he opens his eye and looks at her before taking his face in her hands and kissing him. As a young Armin and Eren sit beside each other, he asks if he really had to beat him up that badly, to which he apologizes. Armin confirms that it was all to push them all away so that they could be the ones to kill him and turn them into the heroes who saved humanity, which Eren agrees to and says he'll explain everything on the way. As they watch the molten lava slowly pass through streams, he explains that the power of the Titans is still present because Ymir has continued to serve King Fritz even after all he did to her, and it's because she actually loved him. And after 2,000 years, the person who would finally release her appeared, Mikasa. Eren explains that the outcome Mikasa was able to reach was the one he's been chasing all along. The past and future isn't different in the Founder's mind and exists all at once, which is why that day Bertholdt had to survive, so he sent the Titan towards his mother. But Armin suddenly grabs his hand and they appear on the sea before Armin asks if Mikasa will be able to live without him, and punches him when he carelessly answers he doesn't know, after which Eren starts crying and says he wants Mikasa to always be his and to pine after him after he's dead, before revealing that he kills 80% of humanity, balancing the population outside Paradis and preventing an attack on it. Horrified, Armin desperately asks if there's any other way, but Eren says there isn't, after which Armin slowly smiles and thanks him, saying that they'll go to hell together before they embrace each other, and Eren says he's going to erase this memory, which he'll recover after he's dead, which Armin agrees to, and suddenly wakes up on the ship with Annie. Now he slowly wakes up and walks toward Mikasa, holding Eren's head, and starts to cry as the others also remember what Eren had told them, before erasing their memories and miserably remember his words. Mikasa tells Armin that she's going to find a place to bury him, and they decide on the place he always took a nap at before she leaves. Armin goes up to the Marleyan commander threatening the Eldians, and boldly tells him that they've now lost their Titan powers, which is why they're completely helpless against them. 3 years after the fight known as the Battle of Heaven and Earth, Armin, Annie, Reiner, Peak, Jean, and Connie slowly reach Paradis Island's port as they read Historia's letter, before the others ask if they'll be allowed to live, despite being traitors, to which he says that no matter what, they won't kill them now, since they'd want to hear their story, the story of how the people who always tried to kill each other managed to survive and save the whole world, and walks outside the room, saying they should tell them all of it. Meanwhile, Mikasa sits beside Eren's grave, under the tree on that hill, saying the others are going to be here soon, and slowly starts crying before a bird drapes her scarf on her neck, seeing which she smiles and thanks him for wrapping this scarf around her. If you have made it to the end of this video, please make sure to like and subscribe on your way out for more content. Also, comment what anime you would like to hear about below.